The dough mixer machine was terrifying. It had twisted the man's hand into a U shape. His daughter screamed in horror upon seeing it, and the arriving firefighters were equally shocked. However, the man was still worried about the dough inside.
Oh, my dough is ruined. I need to start a new batch.
His wife said they wanted to loosen the machine, but feared causing him further injury. Casey told his team to cut the power first, then led the woman away to avoid disrupting the rescue efforts. Fearing the man might go into shock, the paramedics gave him fluids and morphine. Casey climbed onto a stool, unscrewed the bolts, and removed the cover. But then he faced another problem, the tightly packed gears. Taking the whole thing apart would waste a lot of time. Just then Stella noticed that the beater attachment should just pop right off, but it required twisting to the other side, which would put pressure on the man's wound. At the critical moment, Harriman suggested unbolting the motor and then rotated the whole assembly. As they loosened the screws, they manually operated the machine. The daughter turned her head away, heartbroken for her dad. One had to admire the man's endurance. He gritted his teeth and didn't make a sound. Soon the mixing beater was removed. Casey told the man to take a deep breath and directly pulled his injured arm free, then rushed him to the hospital. Whether his hand could fully recover in the future remained unknown. The man was accidentally caught between a beam and a scaffold. The situation was extremely critical, as the beam was the only support for the scaffold. If it were removed, the entire tower would collapse, and the man would inevitably fall. At this moment, the chief arrived. After some discussion, they decided to rely on manpower to stabilize the scaffold, then lift the beam and pull the man out. Kelly and the chief climbed the ladder. They carefully made their way to the man, securing the beam to the fire truck.
I'll hold the platform, you pull the victim out.
As the ropes tightened, the beam was slowly lifted. The chief seized the moment to pull the man out, quickly transferring him to the ladder.
It's not holding.
Grandma!
Just as the scaffold was about to give way, Kelly leapt heroically into the air. This man's name is Franklin. Someone merely shook his hand, and he immediately pulled out hand sanitizer. Franklin had a severe case of germophobia. That day was his last day working at the bank. As usual, he opened the vault door, and the security truck arrived right on time. Everything was running smoothly. The security guard Billy placed the goods in the vault and asked Franklin to sign off. Hearing that Billy was retiring the next day, he congratulated him. But as soon as Billy left, Franklin pulled out his hand sanitizer again. At that moment, something strange happened. Billy walked a few steps, then suddenly collapsed, foaming at the mouth. Nina, a bank employee, rushed over to check on him, only to see Franklin showing the same symptoms. The rescue team arrived quickly. The other security guard, Sam, who was in the truck, was utterly confused, noticing his partner had not returned. He anxiously asked what was happening. He wanted to check the situation, but he couldn't leave the security truck. Meanwhile, Franklin experienced severe muscle spasms. Firefighter Eddie suspected it was caused by neurotoxin. This raised Captain Bobby's alarm. He ordered everyone to step back, avoid contact with the victims, and prepare for the possibility of a chemical agent. Just then, the vault door began closing automatically. Hen, determined to save Franklin, rushed inside without hesitation before she could come back out. The door shut, trapping both Hen and Franklin inside. Bobby asked Nina to open the door, but the vault was on a timed lock and wouldn't open again until the same time the next day. Their only other option was to contact the vault company. Meanwhile, through surveillance, Bobby saw Hen showing the same symptoms. The situation became even more critical. The LAPD and hazmat unit soon arrived, quickly setting up a decontamination station outside. Firefighters attempted to cut the vault open, but it was futile. To ensure adequate oxygen for those inside, they first cut the bank's power and drilled holes in the vault door. All bank employees were sent to decontamination, changed into clean clothes, and taken to the hospital for isolation. Finally, the firefighters drilled a small hole and inserted a pipe to supply oxygen into the vault. The vault company's technicians were working on remotely opening the door, but they couldn't just wait around. Bobby contacted his friend Michael, an engineer who managed to obtain the bank's structural plans. Michael discovered that the vault had been built later, and one of its walls was part of the original building. This wall could potentially be breached. Firefighters brought tools and started drilling into the wall. Meanwhile, Billy was taken to the hospital, but he didn't survive. This tragic news meant the situation was worse than anticipated. As time pressed on, the firefighter Buck decided to use a fire truck for extra force with maximum power. The wall finally cracked and broke open. At the same time, the vault technicians remotely unlocked the door. Confused but relieved, the firefighters rushed inside, rescuing both Hen and Franklin. Oddly enough, their symptoms vanished. Clearly, this was not caused by a neurotoxin. After a long day, when the team returned to the station, a police car suddenly arrived. Officers searched the fire truck and found the missing $300,000 cash in a storage compartment. Could it be that the firefighters used the rescue as a cover for theft? Everyone was a suspect. Hen decided to investigate the bank for clues, with the vault damaged. The staff were counting the inventory before transferring it to another branch. As Hen reviewed the day's events in her mind, she noticed Franklin's bottle of hand sanitizer. The police were alerted and sent it for testing. Hen suspected it might contain poison, and Franklin was likely the one who planted it. At that moment, Nina discovered that $6 million worth of diamonds were missing from the vault. Police rushed to Franklin's home, but no one Someone answered the unlocked door. Inside, they found Franklin dead on the floor. There were no signs of the diamonds. Had an accomplice stolen them and silenced Franklin? As the case grew more perplexing, the test results for the hand sanitizer came back. It contained scorpion venom. Hen immediately thought of Marty, the repairman at the fire station, who had severe arthritis, but claimed to have improved recently thanks to a folk remedy containing scorpion venom. The team devised a plan to lure Marty into confessing. Realizing he was caught, Marty tried to flee, but the police were waiting for him. Marty never expected that the security guard Billy's allergy to scorpion venom would ruin their plan. It turned out Franklin was Marty's brother-in-law. Knowing Franklin was about to retire, the two plotted the heist. Franklin, as the bank insider, would create chaos in the vault as everyone focused on the vault. Marty, disguised as a firefighter, sent security guard Sam to decontamination, sneaked into the truck, stole $300,000, and hid it in the fire truck. However, when Marty returned to retrieve the cash, it was already too late. The police had found it. Franklin had reported the security truck theft himself. Because Franklin was a double agent, he agreed to the plan not for the $300,000 cash, but for the $6 million worth of diamonds in the vault. To prepare for the heist, he often practiced finding the diamonds with his eyes closed so that he could easily steal them after cutting the power. Franklin thought everything was under his control, but an accident disrupted his plan. Hen risked her life to save him, forcing Franklin to poison Hen to incapacitate her. Franklin looted all the diamonds, and after successfully escaping, he reported the security truck robbery from the hospital. He could have fled the country and lived a life of luxury, but he acted too slowly. His accomplice Marty found him, believing he had been betrayed. In a fit of rage, Marty killed Franklin and took the diamonds. However, Marty confessed to everything except for killing Franklin and stealing the diamonds. So where did the $6 million worth of diamonds go? At the morgue, the coroner began to perform an autopsy on Franklin's body. That's when something strange happened. The missing diamonds were found hidden in Franklin's stomach. On the day of the incident, Franklin had swallowed all the diamonds, pulling off an elaborate theft, but he never expected that those very diamonds would be the cause of his death. Indeed, greed never leads to a good ending. The man suspected his girlfriend had cheated on him, so he actually attempted to jump off the building. The rescue team arrived at the scene, with a firefighter rappelling down from the rooftop, finding a good position, and standing by. The man didn't seem keen on jumping, as he held on tightly. He demanded his girlfriend to confess, but she adamantly denied it, even getting angry.
Fine, you want to jump? Go ahead and jump.
At that moment, the captain arrived
Telling him to jump is probably not the way to go.
and asked the girl,
Did you cheat on him?
This is the right time for that.
So that's a yes.
No, it isn't.
Tell him you're sorry.
Absolutely not. Okay, I'm not going to admit that I cheated on him.
The captain said it didn't matter. He just needed her apology. Surprisingly, the woman believed the captain's words, not only sincerely apologizing to the man, but also professing her love for him alone. Guess what?
You lying bitch!
Oh, fine.
Seeing the situation completely stalled, the captain decided to take over. He claimed that he met a girl and imagined their future, then brought a ring and proposed to her on the Eiffel Tower. Tears glistened in his eyes. The man was kicked inside.
What did she say to you?
Who?
The girl on the Eiffel Tower.
I don't know. We never get that far in the story.